Hello, and welcome back to the paddock. We have something super exciting for you, and probably one of my favorite pods to date that we're going to do. And it's going to be about F1 Academy, new year, new season, baby. Let's go. On this episode, you have Chelsea, Rachel, and myself, Hannah, and we are going to kick it off to Rachel to get us started.
All right, so first and foremost, the grid. Who are we going to see next year? Who hasn't been announced yet? What are we looking at? The grid is looking very exciting. As of today, as of recording, the grid is as follows. So for Prema Racing, we have Tina Hausman, who is new, and she's with the Aston Martin development team. Doreen Pin, who's also new, and she's with the Mercedes Junior program. And Maya Wing, who is with the Ferrari Driver Academy. So that rounds out Prema Racing. Now, ART Grand Prix, we've got Bianca Bustamante, who is returning for her sophomore season with F1 Academy. And this year, she is with the McLaren development team. Leah Block, who is new, and she's with Williams development team. Very exciting. And ART has not announced the third driver for their team, so we are still waiting on that one. Compost Racing, we've got Carrie Schreiner, who is also returning for her sophomore year with F1 Academy, and she's with the Sauber Driver Academy. Chloe Chambers, who's new, she is with the Haas Junior team, and they also have not announced their third driver for the next year, or this year. And Rodin Motorsport, which used to be Rodin Carlin, is Abby Pulling, who is returning for her sophomore year as well, and she is continuing with the Alpine Driver Academy. Rodin has not announced the other two drivers for their team, so we are still waiting on them, and MP Motorsport has not announced any drivers, so we are still waiting on their whole team. We do not know what we're looking at there. And there are only currently 3 returning drivers, but we've still got 7 spots, so maybe we'll see some other familiar faces. I do have a feeling we'll be seeing quite a few announcements over the next 4 to 5 weeks, seeing as the first race is in March.
And one thing that I find extremely interesting is how the F1 teams pick the academy teams, like who partners with who. You know what I mean? Like Alpine picked Abby, then Rodin. Like, what is the method to the madness? Is it just like, was everybody just rushing and being like, I want Prema Racing because like Prema's like the top tier? Or is it like whoever could sign who deal in a negotiation? Or does Susie pick it? I mean, does Susie just draw it out of a hat and be like, Mercedes goes with this one and all that? So it's very inquisitive. I did look it up and I couldn't find much information on it. But maybe one day they'll talk about it. I don't know.
I definitely feel like each girl, whatever contract they have with the F1 teams, it's a separate contract from their Formula One Academy team. And that's why Prema has like 3 people, and MP Motorsport's probably going to end up having 1. I don't think they really correlate too much. And I definitely think the teams chose the person. I don't think Susie did. I mean, Susie probably gave like references like, well, I think this person would be good for you. But I don't think she chose the specific girl for the team. But if you guys are listening and you're confused and you have no clue what we're talking about, the recent update is in Motorsports for Women, F1 Academy is now going to be supported by all 10 F1 teams coming this season. And each Formula One team, they're going to provide 1 driver to the series, and they're going to have their livery on 1 car. Now, the remaining 5 drivers, they're still going to receive backing. It's just going to be from other partners. Like Rachel mentioned before, some teams have already chosen their drivers, but we're still waiting on Red Bull, the new Visa Cash App RB Formula One team. God, that's horrific to say. And Kick Sauber, formerly known as Alfa Romeo. Now, all these teams being late to the party makes sense to me, considering they're still finding themselves right now. So those names, they're not it. But whatever. Anyways.
So true, Chelsea. I mean, Lord, those names. Like, what are they thinking? Whatever. It's been interesting year of change for those teams. And I'll be intrigued to see if like when they get down to it and finally like settle and pick somebody, if it's gonna be like Ariella Nobles, who is like a Ferrari driver academy. I mean, I feel like she'd be perfect. And or like Luna Flexa, who's like new and up and coming. I mean, they're two amazing girls in the motorsport world, and I hope that they pick it sooner rather than later because I think now they're on like a deadline. Because, like Rachel said, they're like 4 or 5 weeks away from like the start of race season. You never know.
I will say we still have Jessica Edgar with no news. We still have the sisters with no news. And the sisters did drive for MP Motorsport, if I'm not wrong, last season. So I see no reason why maybe at least not one of them might come back. But thanks to Susie and the others who supported this initiative, we're going to see a lot of more progress out of these girls. We're going to see more skill development. We're going to see more funding and focus put into their worth and their skills on the track. But also, this is going to bring a lot of attention. It's going to bring a lot more focus onto the series, which I think, to be honest, is at least the second most important thing out of this whole initiative. Like, yes, we want these girls to build skill, but we also want to bring attention to the fact that there's girls in the sport in general. And as Susie, managing director of F1 Academy, said, I am delighted to announce our 7-round season for 2024. This calendar cements our ambition to become a truly global series, expanding our reach and improving visibility for our mission. Now, Hannah does have a little more information on the schedule in a minute, but I wanted to talk about the response this initiative was getting. Now, Hamilton, one of our faves here, he was proud to be like hearing about this initiative. He was proud to be slightly a part of it because he did. There are like photos of you see him visiting the girls and just kind of encouraging them. And he stated he was really happy to hear the progress F1 Academy has made. It's been great having Susie there, who was a phenomenal driver. Yes, she was. And she has the perspective from the driver's side, but also she's been a team owner. She's really fighting for that inclusivity, so I think it's really great that steps we are taking. Really happy to hear all that Formula One is on board. Now, I hope he's right about that, and that next season we really get to see those girls be supported by their teams, because I really think this plan might be what it takes to put the girls out there. And I also hope that we get to see the full weekend of F1 Academy, so like whether it's the apps or ESPN, whatever it is they decide to do, I want to see practice quality race days exactly like if I was watching F2 or F3. And I want it all. And if you're curious, the championship specs for the car, just so you guys know when you're watching this season, all teams are going to be competing with identical Tatus, I think I'm pronouncing that right, F4T 4T1 chassis and tire compounds developed by Pirelli. Each car will also be powered by a 165 horsepower turbocharged 4-cylinder engine developed by, excuse me if I say this wrong, but Autotechnica. Basically, an F4 car from 2022 is what the girls are going to be driving.
Yeah, and now let's talk about what the potential schedule is going to look like for this year. So, like Chelsea mentioned, fun fact about this year, and I'm super excited to see it for the first time, like in a full year season. F1 Academy will travel with F1 for 7 of the races this season. That means this will bring more coverage, more engagement, and fan support, along with potential broadcasting. Yay. I mean, but they haven't announced like who could get that deal. So I'm hoping F1 app like has it. So it's like a quick find, like, let's go, like we all do for F1, of course. So now the schedule. Round one will be held in Jeddah, which is in Saudi Arabia, from March 6th through the 8th. Round two will be in Miami, Florida on May 2nd through the 4th.
Literally, I'm so excited to see this in person. I would love to see the girls drive again in person. Although you will not catch me there all day. You will not catch me there all 3 days. It is too hot in Miami. And if you're listening, just know that. Unless I'm volunteering, which I am looking into it, you will not catch me there all 3 days. That's prepare yourself if you guys want to go. Same thing for Austin.
I do agree to the Austin part. Miami, I mean, I've never been. Why not? Round three will be held in Barcelona, which is in Spain, on June 20th through the 22nd. Round four will be in Zandvoort, Netherlands, on August 22nd through the 24th. Then we have round five, which will be held in Singapore, on November 28th through the 30th. Round six will be in Lusail, Qatar, on November 28th through the 30th. And correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Qatar the race that F1 struggled with because of the heat last season? I think this will be a test for those girls. I mean, I think every driver complained like it was really, really hot.
I think what would be funny is if the girls didn't complain.
Truth. I mean, it'd be a perfect example to be like, we got this. Like, sorry guys, step out of the way. Girl power. Why not? And then round seven, which is their final race of the season, will be held at Yas Island in Abu Dhabi. So they will finish their season at the same time F1 finishes their season, which will be held in December the 5th through the 7th. Super excited to see this season. And I mean, we'll be able to like actually get statistics for all of them. So that's super exciting.
Now, while we are very excited to watch, I am, as I love to do, going to do a little prediction. Now, look, this is going to be a beautiful season. I'm going to predict that off the bat. I think it's going to be very interesting seeing how they work together with the F1 teams, and I really want to see how the new girls do in this series. Now, it may have taken a few rounds, but because last year, we did finally get to see Jessica Edgar claim her maiden F1 Academy win in the season finale. Look, that's beautiful. That's literally a showstopper Cinderella story. So I hope to see her brought in again for another chance. Now, if you haven't had a chance yet, we did an interview with her a while back, but honestly, I truly just think she was a young driver with a lot of potential who needed just more time to find her footing in the academy. The same thing I would say about Logan and F1. Because who knows? We still have a bit of a wait on the final drivers being selected. But, either way, I just hope she ends up in a series because if you listen to the interview, she loves racing. That's all she loves. That's what she wants to do. So I hope she gets to do it. I'm also really excited to see Abby back and with Alpine because I feel like that's going to be a really good connection. She was such an amazing driver last season, and while she may not have ended top 3, she was still the highest British finisher, and she was in the overall standings finishing at 5, and that, chef's kiss. Beautiful. That's all you have to do. And of course, because I'm American, I'm excited to see Leah Block on the grid out there. Okay, there is nothing, as a Formula One fan who is surrounded by Europeans at this event, there is nothing like cheering for an American driver. Okay? And with season 6 coming out for Drive to Survive, it's going to be released February 23rd if you're like a fan like we are. I want to see what they do, if they talk at all about Formula One Academy, just because it was new and they were at the Austin race. So I feel like we're going to be seeing a lot more Formula One Academy, and I'm so excited that we got to pay attention when it really first the season happened.
I honestly think Chelsea like summed up predictions and like a perfect scenario because I mean, on point. But I hope we see F1 Academy sneak peek in DTS as well because that would be so cool. Especially knowing that like I was there in Austin when like they were the first like race with F1 like was just amazing. I mean, all three of us were there, but it was cool. But for this season, I'm super excited to see how F1 Academy will now be merged with F1 as a support race during the weekends and will bring for the girls and like the team dynamic, which will be super exciting. I am also super excited to see Leah Block on the grid this year, like Chell said, and Abby pulling. I mean, I watch her Twitch streams just as like an off topic, and it's such a fun thing to watch and all. And like, she seems like super down to earth. She's absolutely obsessed with her dog. She has like an actual cam, just like there with her dog, and it's super cool. And she loves racing. So check her out. Okay, anyways. But I think it will take a few rounds to see how the grid will actually show as far as standings. But I won't lie, I actually hope Bianca Bustamante does really well, and very excited to see her to be like working with McLaren this year, as she was like the very first one to be announced as like the partnership with like F1 Academy and all that. And I think like as far as like women in motorsports, she embodies it like perfectly. And it's like super cool to see like how that's all gonna work. But I am super excited for this season, and I'm hoping to like get to watch it all.
I completely agree. I'm so excited to see how the season goes. And as much as I would love to be able to see the girls at Coda again, I kind of like that they're like rotating the US races. So maybe we'll see them in Vegas in 2025 and they'll just do like a rotation. I feel like that would be really cool. Um I agree with Hannah. I think seeing a sneak peek or like a little feature in Drive to Survive would be really cool. Like we get to kind of see F2 in the background every now and again. So I think that's really cool. And I am also excited to see Leah on the grid. I mean, maybe it's just an American thing, but I love her. She's so adorable. And I really am interested to see what Williams has in store because they are really kind of like leaning into the American market. They are embracing it with open arms, and I'm very interested to see where that goes.
I mean, Williams, go ahead and just announce it by now. I mean, we already know you're doing amazing. You're doing great, sweetie. America's yours. We love you.
I'm just saying, if they open up a headquarters in America, I'm really good at marketing. Please hire me. I will move to any state. I'll take like bring me in. Bring me in, man. Tap me in. That's you tapping me in, Williams, and just put me in there. Okay? That's all I need.
I'll do your asset development. I got you. Facilities development. I mean, a 2-for-1 deal here. You hear me? Like, you get Chelsea and you get
Rachel has
free
skills. Rachel will fix
Rachel.
all of your motorsport costumes. She will make everyone look amazing. She's a very smart person. She can help like make everyone work better. Work management, man.
She's a great
Efficiency.
admin. Yeah. I mean, you,
Our
with
office, efficient. We will have the best, we will be a better running office than Europe.
and we all
Just
have
saying.
degrees. Like we bring
We all
to the
have degrees.
we bring to the table good stuff. Let's go.
Anyways, Williams, because you guys are totally listening, to the other people listening, we didn't really talk about this, but in case you guys might have been confused, I wanted to bring it up since we're going into the new season. Now, Roden Carlin, you might have known the name before. They did have a bit of a team name change. The Carlin family has officially left out the doors. They're out of here. And Roden Cars took full ownership, so now it is just going to be Roden Motorsport. Don't be confused when you hear it on the track.
Period. Like Chelsea said.
And then, obviously, going into the new season, I'm very excited to see who's going to take the place of Marta Garcia as the champion. Because if you guys didn't know, she was the champion last year. She received a fully funded seat for the 2024 Formula One, or I'm sorry, the 2024 Formula Regional European Championship. So, congratulations to her. That's absolutely beautiful. I want to see which girl kicks ass this season.
Yeah, and just to provide some more information that Chelsea mentioned, so she is with the Formula Regional European Championship Cup, like Chelsea mentioned, but it's with Alpine and the F1 Academy, like Prema racing team and Freka are all kind of like supporting her on this journey, which is super exciting. And Tadas and Pirelli will provide a financial contribution towards the cost of all the seat. And um, I think that's just amazing because it like furthers the growth of like the women in motorsports and like moving up. And if like she's able to do it, just imagine the years going forward. Like I could just see her like moving from F4 to F3. And like as she makes it to F3, like the girls are just gonna like continuously like just go up the ranks. It's like a ladder.
I agree. I'm really excited for her. I think it's going to be incredible. I'm loving that Alpine is also kind of really leaning into the female like in motorsports. And I mean, I think that like if last year was any indication with the Barbie movie, the Taylor Swift Eras Tour, Beyonce's Renaissance Tour, it really shows that women are paying attention. We are running we are running things, and these girls deserve these seats so much. They are so talented, and I'm so excited for them to finally get the recognition and the backing that they so greatly deserve.
The French do love a good revolution, so I think they'd be behind this one.
Yeah, and as part of this milestone like agreement with FRECA will also grant its top teams a season-long fourth entry if they sign a driver who finishes either in P1, P2, or P3 in the F1 Academy like final standings. So that's even super exciting as like FRECA is like trying to like pin themselves as like a young driver development team and help further that growth.
I think the one that I'm most excited for as far as seeing who the rest of the grid is I'm so intrigued to see who Red Bull backs for the F1 Academy. Red Bull is having their moment. I mean, Max is killing it. It is insane, and I am just so curious as to who they're going to put their money behind.
I will say, one, I think Red Bull and no, I'm just gonna say AlphaTauri anyways. Red Bull and AlphaTauri, they each get a person, right? Wouldn't it be funny if the person the AlphaTauri picks is better than the Red Bull driver? Look, really, at the end of the day, they're all gonna be the same car, right? It's just gonna be the livery that's gonna be different. So we're actually going to be seeing like just really skill. Besides the little things that I think they're allowed to tweak, it's just gonna be mostly skill. So I'm very much excited to see because for some reason I thought Jessica Hawkins was gonna be the F1 Academy driver. I don't know why I thought that was gonna be a thing. And so I want to see who else they bring in because what if they grab Jessica? What if they get a NASCAR driver? What if they get someone in like the karting thing that they were trying to start up last year or this year? I think what's very exciting is there are so many girls in this motorsport that we just don't know about yet. And I love seeing them come out of like these random places. Like the American, I'm like, hell yeah, love that. America. Didn't even know where you came from. And it's just gonna be really cool to see. I would love to make a prediction right now. I really truly think that either Mercedes or Red Bull's driver is going to be in the top 3 by the end of the season. I don't know why. I'm just trusting their decision making. I'm betting that one of those two, Mercedes or Red Bull, is going to be in the top 3 of the F1 Academy by the end of the season.
Oh, hands down. I mean, you have to realize this like the top two teams like on the F1 grid, they probably are very meticulous about their decision and they you gotta probably think they're probably very rigorous and being like, if you don't get one or two or even like top three, like we have a problem because like we have standards and Red Bull is probably like trying to figure out like who they could pick that will beat Mercedes. That's probably their strategy, noting like how like Toto and them like work. It's a feud always.
100%. 100%. I think Red Bull is going to be the last to announce their driver. Like 100%. Christian Horner is nothing if not strategic. But like Mercedes's driver Doreen Pin, she's done just incredible things, and she's been with the Iron Dames. She's just been doing so well. I think Mercedes obviously chose an incredible driver. They're all incredible. But yeah, I think Red Bull's waiting. They're just I wouldn't even be surprised if they have their pick and they just haven't announced it yet. It's Red Bull.
I just want to say, I do think whoever Red Bull whoever Red Bull chooses is going to end up at MP Motorsport because of the history that MP Motorsport has. And I just feel like that's going to, for some reason in my head, make a really good connection because the Mercedes drivers is amazing. I think she did something with like she did with something with F3. She's done the Ferrari Challenge Europe. She's done, I think, the Le Mans series, which is what she did with Iron Dames, right? Yeah. She's done the World Endurance Championship. Like, that's ridiculous. So, like, Red Bull has to get a driver that has that kind of resume coming with them. Otherwise, they're going to be spending a lot of time teaching someone that they want to match up to Jermaine Pin's experience already.
So I didn't think very hard into this decision, but I was just thinking back to the Docker rally and how Chris Tortu won, and she is backed by Red Bull in that like Extreme E competition series. And I know she's probably a little old. I think she's in like her mid late 20s, if I'm not wrong. So she may be uneligible just due to the age, but that would be a really good like strategic decision if they chose her. But again, I didn't think very far into this once I thought about her age, but that could be a really good option. But bam.
I'm looking at their junior team to see what woman they have. And I don't see one.
I think it's really hard. I think Red Bull is unfortunately has been like one of the last to like add on or sign women to their team, compared to like some of the other teams that like have already like Jessica Hawkins, for instance, like you mentioned, Chelsea, they immediately were like, you're going to be on as like a strategic like person that helps women in F1 Academy bridge the gap with F1, kind of like similar to like Susie, but like more down to earth with the women, like with the girls because of age. And like we just haven't seen anything like that from Red Bull. I mean, we saw that with Bianca. We saw that with like some of the other girls. We even were in the grid at like Abu Dhabi because all F1 Academy girls from 2023 season were at Abu Dhabi, and were invited by teams. But I don't remember seeing any of them in the Red Bull garage now that I think about that.
Red Bull has a rally driver they can sign, and I'm only saying that because they literally have an interview with her calling her fastest youngest woman in motorsport.
Ooh, who is it?
Her name is Katie Munnings. I could be pronouncing that wrong. She's British, and she's a rally driver. And oh my god, that's hilarious. Like, during her first season, she won the Ladies European Rally Championship.
She's 26 though. And so I think the max is 25.
She was 21 in 2019.
Then
Yeah, no, she would be 26 by now, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was
Yeah.
21, turning 22 in 2019. She was born the same year as me. That's the only reason I can do math. But yeah, because I think the age cap, the like max is 25.
There's Juju Noda. She was a 12-year-old in 2019, and she was the fastest single-seater for her little F4 drive. That is adorable. It's not adorable. You're a badass, but you know, like,
You know what we mean.
I'm so sorry. She has the sweetest quote. This is her quote. There's always been women in F1 as F1 racers, but there hasn't been any female F1 drivers yet. I want to be the first one. She wants to be the first F1 female winner. You do this, Juju. You got this.
Go get him, girl.
So see, maybe they can put her. I don't know. I feel like there's so many random people out there that can be an amazing decision for Red Bull. But the thing is, they also need someone that has the personality for Red Bull. Because let's face it, if you're too sweet, Red Bull is probably going to kick you to the curb. They need someone that has the mentality for Red Bull because those people look like they don't stop working. Even Max thinks fun time is playing the freaking race game. Like, okay. And above that, they're extremely competitive. Does it obviously do them well? Yes, it does them beautifully. Like, that's why Max does so well. But if they're working with, like, someone new to an F4 car, for example, that's probably going to be a rough hit, just like mentality wise, if they don't pick it up off the first race or something. So they need someone that like can really handle, I don't know, being yelled at by helmet or something. So, because
Oh
let's face
Lord.
it, you never know. Like, we don't really know what kind of participation yet these teams are going to have with the F1 Academy. Like, are we going to see Horner talking to the F1 girl during the races? Are we going to see like Zach Brown talking to like Bianca as like almost an advisor? Are they only giving chassis and like that's it? That's their full job. So I want to see how much just interaction and participation these leaders really have with the girls. And then from there, I want to see how Red Bull treats and how like Mercedes and Williams, those teams that like we like to keep an eye on, really treat their girls. Because I feel like Mercedes, for example, is or Mercedes should be like an example for the other teams, right? Because everyone kind of looks at them as one of the best teams. So Red Bull needs to pick someone that's going to be a great example for them, but also for all the other girls too. And for all the girls watching. And I feel like that's a lot to put on one little girl, which sucks. And I'm so sorry to these young women that have so much pressure on them because all they want to do is drive. But it becomes such a larger marketing and influential thing beyond just getting in the car. And I think that's what, I don't know, I feel like that's what kind of takes away the fun a little bit from the F1 Academy is how much pressure they have to just be big. And I really just hope these girls have fun next year and they enjoy themselves, whether that's for Red Bull or they're just being backed by a sponsor.
No, I agree with you, Charles. I think as a young woman, that is a lot of pressure to put on one's shoulders, especially for the first time being put in the limelight and like being new to that atmosphere. It's probably got to be a little overwhelming and stressful. I know some of the ladies came out last year in the previous season, how like they dealt with anxiety and like the stress of it all, and they said it was a struggle. So I hope that like they're mentally prepared as well as like they have that person there that they could speak to like feel comfortable and like know when and like I need a break, they take that break like from a mental standpoint. But I would like to just talk. Like, I know we have seven, or they have, like, F1 Academy has seven drivers they still need. I would love to see more of the returning grid come back. Not going to lie, as much as I want, like, the new blood, the fresh meat, like, to come into, like, the paddock, but I would love to see like some of the previous grid come back because I don't think like one season was enough. I think like you need some time to like show your full potential. And with that, like I hope the seven seats, just from a my stance, would be refilled from like girls from the previous season, like the sisters, Chloe Grant, or like Lola, and I think her last name is Love and Folste. I not saying that correctly. I am so sorry. And like many more, like I could go on. Like the girls were amazing, and just hope that they don't get into F1 Academy, that they're given another opportunity. Um, and I'm excited to see like as the next couple weeks come how that plays out and like who signs with what and where does everybody go, because there's a few that like I saw in F1 Academy at Austin that I'm like I wouldn't mind seeing how your career develops, and like I wish you like amazing freaking things because I got to meet some of them when I was passing out like little bracelets with Rachel, and some of them were so sweet. I remember a few of them were like super like happy and were like hugging us, like thanking us for the bracelets, and would love to just like see the potential because they're so young. They've got so much potential and they could do amazing things for women in motorsports. And I think this is just the beginning of the many years to come of like the woman in motorsports and like the potential and the, like that ground, like stepping ground.
Honestly, I'm really excited to see how the season's going to go next year. But we can only predict for now. Everyone has to stay tuned, and we will be finding out in March.
And now to kind of like wrap up our pod, we always like to end it with like a moment, a funny quote or something. And this time I have a moment of the 2023 F1 Academy season. And this one is going to be work hard, never give up, and follow your dreams. This was a quote by Marta Garcia on Making History, the mindset of a champion and overcoming barriers, which essentially is what she did exactly to a T. So, with that, I don't have anything else. The quote speaks for itself.
Thanks for joining us today, everyone. Honestly, I'm really excited. I hope you guys stay tuned for next season. Let us know who you think is going to end up on top. I know there's still a few names coming out. We get it. But let us know what you think. I still am saying it's going to be Mercedes or Red Bull Girl. Just let me know. You can follow us on our socials. We will obviously let you know anytime we have a new episode. Everywhere we are Pata Girls Podcast, except on Twitter. She's still a little special. There you can find us at Pata Girls Pod. See y'all next time, where I'm so excited to say we're going to keep this trend going and we're going to talk about Jessica Hawkins. Girl power, guys. We got to talk about girls before the boys come back. Bye, everyone.
See you later.
Bye.